So, good day. I'm Toro Jocelyn. I will discuss the Cavite Mutiny. Cavite Mutiny, a major factor in awakening of nationalism among the Filipino. Mutiny, a rebellion against authority, comes from an adverb mutin, which means revolt. So, sinasabi rito na ito yung importanteng nangyari sa kasaysayan natin kasi ito yung naging turning point o naging susi para pagising at magkaroon ng magsikan laban sa mga colonizer. Cavite Mutiny, uprising of military personnel of Fort San Felipe, the Spanish arsenal in Cavite, Philippines, on January 20, 1872. Around 200 soldiers and laborers rose up in the belief that it would elevate to a national uprising. The mutiny was unsuccessful, and government soldiers executed many of the participants. Based sa information na ito, ang Cavite Mutiny ang naganap sa arsenal ng Cavite sa paggawaan ng mga armas. At sinasabi rito, ang kanilang paniniwala na malabong maipanalo nila ang kanilang pag-aaklas Gamborza, collective name of the three martyred priests, tagged as a mastermind of the Cavite Mutiny. So, ito ay galing sa pangalang Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos at Josento Zamora. Itong tatlong to ang naging pasimuno sa Cavite Mutiny. Gamborza, they were prominent Filipino priests charged with treason and sedition. Spanish clergy connect the priests to the mutiny as a part of conspiracy to stifle the movement of secular priests who desired to have their own parishes instead of being assistant to the regular priests. So, bakit nga ba naisipan ng tatlong parin mag-alsa? Wala naman tayong question sa kahalagahan sa pangyayari na ito, pero meron kasi mga kontrobersiya sa mga pangyayari sa Cavite Mutiny. Ano nga ba ito? Ano nga ba talaga ang nangyari? So, merong paglalaban at itong mga kuro-kuro na ito ay sinusuportahan din ng mga pangunahing pinanggagalingan o primary source. Pasig rito, gusto ng tatlong pare na magkaroon ng importante o mahalagang tungkulin sa simbahan, which is hindi nagustuhan ng mga Espanyol, kaya naisipan ng tatlong pare na mag-alsa. Ito yung background ng tatlong pare. Father Mariano Gomez, an old man in his mid-70s Chinese Filipino born in Cavite. He held the most senior position of the three as Archbishop Vicar in Cavite. He was truly nationalistic and accepted the death penalty calmly as through it swore his penance of being Filipino. Father Jose Burgos, a Spanish descent born in the Philippines. He was a parish priest of the Manila Cathedral and had been known to close to be the regular government of General de la Torre. He was 35 old at the time and was an active and spoken advocating the Filipinization of clergy. Father Josento Zamora, 37 years old, was also Spanish born in the Philippines. He was the parish priest of Marikina and was known to be unfriendly to and would not countenance any arrogance or authoritative behavior from Spaniard coming from Spain. Kaya naman natin dito yung mga dalawang pananaw na nasangkot sa Cavite Mutiny. First, the Spanish account. Spanish account underscored the reason of the revolution abolition of privilege enjoyed by the worker of the Cavite arsenal, such as exemption from payment of tribute of being employed, polos by servicios of forced labor. Presence of the native clergy against the Spanish friars conspired of supported and the rebel. Ito yung mga paniniwala ng mga Espanyol. Jose Montero y Vidal, Spanish historian. So, it's a siyang historian. His account centered on how the event was in overthrowing the Spanish government in the Philippines. Base sa kanyang paniniwala, yung daw ang pangyayari sa Cavite Mutiny, umiikot daw doon sa tangkang pagpapabagsak sa gobyernong Espanyol dito sa Pilipinas. His account on Cavite Mutiny was criticized as hopefully biased. Kilala man daw na mananalisay si Vidal, pero yung pagkakasalaysay niya, yung tinatawag natin mutiny sa Cavite, ay hindi daw patas. Meron daw siyang kinikilingan at dahil isa siyang Espanyol, nasapalan siya ng mga Espanyol. Governor Rafael Escuerdo implicated a native clergy who were active in the movement toward secularization parish. In a biased report, he highlighted the attempt to overthrow the Spanish government in the Philippines to install a new hari in the person of Father Burgos and Zamora. According to Escuerdo, native clergy attracted supporters by giving their charismatic assurance that their fight would not fail because they had a God support, aside from the promises of lovely rewards, such as employment, wealth, rank. So, according to Escuerdo, sa side naman ni Escuerdo, hindi niya lang sinasabi na dahil gusto nilang pabagsakin itong gobyerno ng Espanyol dito sa Pilipinas, kundi mas pinalala niya pa ito, na itong mga mastermind sa mutiny, ang nagplano dito ay ang mga Pilipinong kaparian. Sinasabi niya rin na gusto ng mga paring ito na magkaroon ng sariling simbahan kaysa pamumunuan ng mga Spanish friars. Gusto ng mga ito na magkaroon ng karapatan, hindi lamang isang utusan lang. 1872 was promulgated a part of the conspiracy among educated leader Mestizo Studier and resident of Manila and Cavite. The alleged plan liquidate high-ranking Spanish officer than killed friars. Base sa salaysay nila Escuerdo at Vidal, matagal na talaga daw pinaplanuhan itong pangyayari na ito noong 1872. Ito daw ay isang bahagi ng malaking pag-aaklas ng mga educated leader. Yung plano daw nila ay ligpitin itong mga namumuno o Spanish officer at kalaunan pagpapatayin daw yung mga Spanish friars o mga kapariang Espanyol. The first account of the event of 1872, Dr. Trinidad Hermenegildo Pardo de Tavera, a Filipino scholar and researcher, wrote a Filipino version of the body incidents in Cavite. According to Pardo de Tavera, the incident was merely a mutiny by Filipino soldier and laborer of the Cavite arsenal to the dissatisfaction arising from the draconian policies of Escuerdo, abolition of privileges, and prohibition of the following of the school and arts and trades. Pardo de Tavera's account of the Cavite Mutiny. Filipino has had great hopes as an improvement in the affairs of their country. The friars feared the dear power in the country would soon be complete things of the past. According to Tavera, masyado daw mabagsik ang pamumuno ni Escuerdo, kaya nagkaroon sila ng pag-retrogate. Inalisan kasi sila ng pribilehiyo. Inalisan din yung mga tawag na pagkakaroon ng iba't ibang eskwelahan o iba't ibang trade, kaya ng mga vocational courses para sa mga Pilipino. Dahil sa tingin daw ni Escuerdo, may isang paraan daw na magkakaroon ng political club, dahil pag natuto ang mga Pilipino, magigising ang diwa nilang kumalaban. Pag sila'y natuto, parang trade daw yun doon sa general. The Central Spanish government was planning to deprive the price for all the power intervention in matter of civil government and education institution. So, dito, dinideprive nila ng kapangyarihan ang mga kaparian. Itong mga Spanish friars ay naghahanap ng butas para may pagpatuloy nila ang pamumuno dito sa ating bansa. At nakita nila ito sa Cavite Mutiny. Lauchet, a French writer, complemented Tavera's account and analyzed the motivation of the 1872 Cavite Mutiny. Planchette account of the Cavite Mutiny. The arrival in Manila of General Escuerdo brought a sudden end to all dreams of reforms. Such a policy must really end in a strong desire on the part of the other to repress cruelly. Shoot yung sumang-ayon kay Tavera na hindi isang pag-aaklas ang Cavite Mutiny. To make it summarize, base sa Spanish account, pinagbibintangan nila ang mga Pilipinong kaparean na siyang utak na pabagsakin ang Spanish government sa pamumuno ni Burgos at Zamora. Sa kabilang banda, sa pagtatanggol naman ni Tavera at ni Plushot, yung pagsang-ayon niya sa sinabi ni Tavera na hindi daw ito isang pag-aaklas laban sa pagbabagsak ng mga Spanish government, kundi gusto lamang ng mga Pilipino soldier na maibalik ang kanilang pribilehiyo at saka yung mga material benefits.
Primary sources account of the cry. Guillermo Masangkay's August 26, 1896, a big meeting was held in Apolonio Samson Gabeza of Balintawak in Caloocan. Present were Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, and Aquedo del Rosario Tomas Romicchio, Precio Pantas, and many more. Ang tanan leaders sa katipunan and board of directors of the organization also presents delegates from Bulacan, Cabanduan, Cavite, and Morona. Si Bonifacio, ang meeting nag-start sa alas 9 sa buntag. Si Jacinto act as a secretary with the agenda when the pressing would take place. Pilato, Pantas, and Valenzuela opposed the idea for it is too early for the rebellion for them. Bonifacio went out and sensing he would lose the discussion. And Bonifacio appealed to the people outside, saying his speech, "You remember the fate of our countrymen who were shot in Bagumbayan. Our organization has been discovered and we are marked men. If we don't start the uprising, the Spaniards will get us anyway. What then you say?" The people responded shouting revolt. And Bonifacio asked the people pledge and told them the sign of Spanish slavery to the Filipino were the cedula. "If it is true that you are ready to revolt, I want to see you destroy your cedulas. It will be a sign that all of us has declared our severance from the Spaniards." And that's all, class. Thank you. And next is Giancarlo Lopez.
Good day everyone, I'm assigned to report the P.U. Valenzuela account. This is a continuation report of where and when did the cry of rebellion happen. So according to P.U. Valenzuela account, he once told a Spanish investigator that the cry happened in Balintawak on Wednesday, 26th of August, 1896. Much later, he wrote in his official report on the revolution that it happened at Pugod Lawin on 23rd of August, 1896. Such inconsistencies in accounts should always be seen a red flag when dealing with primary sources. So in 1935, P.U. Valenzuela along with Precio Pantas and Enrique Pacheco said that the first cry of revolution did not happen in Balintawak where the monument is, but is in the place called Pugod Lawin. In 1940, a researcher team of a foreigner of the National Historic Institute, which included Valenzuela, identified the local location as part of Sitio Gulod, Banlat, Caloocan City. In 1964, the National Historical Institute described this location as the House of Tandang Sora. So in August 19, 1896, the first place of refuge of Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, Procopio Bonifacio, Teodoro Plata, Aguido del Rosario arrived at Balintawak. Ang first five niya arrived. On the next day, August 20, 1896, P. Valenzuela arrived on that place. And then, the first place where some 500 members of Katipunan met on August 22, 1896 was the house of Yard Apolonio Samson at Kangkong. Aside from the person na mention kanina, among those who were there were Bricio Pantas, Alejandro Santiago, Ramon Bernardo, Apolonio Samson, and others. P.U. Valenzuela views were only exchanged and no resolution was debated or adopted. On the next day, August 23, 1896, the debate to whether the revolution against the Spanish government starts on August 29, 1896 or not was carried out in Puwedlawin, in the yard of Juan Ramos, son of Melchor Aquino, where 1,000 Katipuneros were gathered. After turbulent meeting, many of those present tore their cedula certificate and shouted,
Good evening, everyone. I am Jeffryan P. Laguna, so I will be talking about the Cry of Rebellion. So the Cry of Rebellion, or El Grito de Rebellion, marks the start of revolutionary events that swept the Spanish colonies in the late 19th century. This happened in August 1896, northeast of Manila, where they declared rebellion against the Spanish colonial government. These events are important markers in the history of colonies that struggled for their independence against their colonizer. So controversies regarding these events stem the identification arise as to when and where this event happened. First, prominent Filipino historian Chidoro Agoncillo emphasizes the event when Bonifacio tore the cedula before the Katipuneros who also did the same. Note, on August 23, 1896, Andres Bonifacio and a number of Katipuneros tore their cedulas or tax receipt, signifying their protest against Spanish colonial rule. It signaled the start of Philippine Revolution against Spain that was followed by series of fierce fighting of Filipino bolos and spears versus Spanish muskets. So second, when writers identified the first military event with the Spaniards as the moment of the cry of which when Emilio Aguinaldo commissioned the Himno di Balintawak to inspire the renewed struggle after the Pact of Biak na Bato failed. Note, the Pact of Biak na Bato, signed on December 15, 1897, created a truce between Spanish colonial Governor General Fernando Primo de Rivera and the revolutionary leader Emilio Aguinaldo to end the Philippine Revolution. So last is a monument for the heroes of 1896 was erected in what is now the intersection of Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, EDSA, and in Andres Bonifacio Drive North Diversion Road. And from then on until 1962, the Cry of Balintawak was created every 26th of August. The site of monument was chosen for a known reason. So various accounts of the cry give different places and dates. So a Guardia Civil, Lieutenant Olegario Diaz, said the cry has happened in Balintawak on August 25, 1896. While Teodoro M. Calao, a Filipino historian, marks the place to be on Kangkong, Balintawak, last week of August 1896. So dates and places of the cry. the primary source of the following. So first was Santiago Alvarez, a Katipunero and a son of Mariano Alvarez, a leader of Magdiwang faction in Cavite, said it happened in Bahay Toro in Quezon City on August 24, 1896. Also a Katipunero, Pio Valenzuela, and privy in many events concerning Katipunan, said it happened at Pugadlawin on 23rd of August. Third is historian Gregorio Zaire, identified that it happened at Balintawak, 26th of August, while Teodoro Agoncillo put it at Pugad Lawin on August 23, 1896, in accordance to Pio Valenzuela's account. And lastly, the research by historian Milagros Guerrero, Emmanuel Encarnacion, and Ramon Villegas claim that the event took place in Tandang Sora Barn in Gulod, Barangay Banlat, Quezon City on 24th of August 1896. So that's all. Thank you.